AMD discusses console supply issues, and Jeff Grubb talks Everwild to potentially more 2022 exclusive Xbox games. So Christmas has passed, and one of the best things I saw during Christmas on social media was just people opening up their new Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and PlayStation 5s, and just being extremely excited about getting one of these new next generation consoles. Now, obviously, these consoles have been extremely hard to get since they released last year, and even right now, going into 2022, they are still very hard to get, and this is probably going to last for a decently long time. You really have to be on top of when inventory drops online and be one of the first people to click on those links and check out to get one of the consoles. Well, AMD had their most recent financial call, and Lisa Su, the CEO of AMD, discussed the supply and the demand of the Series X, Series S, PS5, and the chips and how they're going to be increasing production for these chips going forward. So here's what she said. Well, I think first of all, I think the console business, the console cycle, and all when you look at it in totality has been amazing. I mean, if you think about the strength of the cycle, now we're sort of deep into the second year, and the fact that the demand is so high, I mean, we've been shipping a lot of products. So the fact that demand is still high says something about just sort of the product capability that's been captured by both Microsoft and Sony in this console cycle. We're continuing to ramp up production. We expect 2022 to be another strong growth year for consoles. If you look at the typical console cycle, the peak year is actually the fourth year typically, and so you would expect maybe 2023 would be the peak year. So there's a couple of things here. I mean, they confirm here that they are going to be ramping up their production of the chips, meaning that hopefully eventually you're going to be able to walk into a store and be able to pick up one of these consoles. But secondly, she highlights just the competitive nature this generation, especially when you compare it to the Xbox One versus the PS4. There really wasn't any competition. The PS4 in terms of the demand was much higher than the Xbox One, but what we're getting this generation is constant demand for both consoles, for both the Xbox and the PlayStation, meaning we are going to continue get just great experiences on these consoles. They're both going to continue to have to compete in order to continuously improve, and that's what consumers, that's what we want. That's what we want to see every single generation, which we didn't get last gen. We're getting back there now. So 2023 they expect to be the peak year, and that means that 2022 is still probably going to be pretty tough to get a console, although they are ramping up production. I mean, you're seeing it more and more now. I have to say, at least from my perspective, that online there are a lot more drops of consoles. It has gotten a slight bit easier to get a Series X or a PS5, but 2023 people are saying is going to be that year where you're probably going to be able to get one easily. Probably going to be able to walk into a store and buy a PS5 and a Series X. And there's so many factors that go into this. Obviously, the state of the world and just what's ever happening in the world with terms of supply and the resources and all that kind of stuff, that could also take into effect what happens in the future years. But if things continue to kind of get better, then hopefully by that time we'll be able to get one of these consoles easily. Now, in terms of seasonality, as you know, with like any product, there's always seasons where they sell more. Christmas time is usually the time where a lot of these companies make a ton of money because people are buying gifts for their family members, for their kids, and they are saying here now that seasonality can pretty much be thrown out the window because of the changes in the current environment we are in, Lisa Su saying. But to the overall point is, look, it's a great platform. We love the fact that we have so many users that are using AMD technology on the console platform, and we'll continue to ramp up supply. And from a seasonality standpoint, yes, you're right. Seasonality does become more muted in this environment until we get to sort of a more normalized environment, which is interesting to think about because I think I personally saw there were more consoles that were available in the last month than I've seen all year, but I could be wrong on that. But if you are looking for a console, you may not focus on a certain time of the year where you think there will be more supply for it, because you just want to get it whenever that link drops. Whenever you're the first person to get onto a website and be able to purchase it, that's probably your best opportunity in order to get Series X, Series S, and PlayStation 5. All right, jumping over here to the most recent Xbox Era podcast, and Jeff Grubb was on the podcast and he was talking about some Xbox stuff, and two of the things he touched on, first one being Everwild and the second one being Project Belfry. So let's hear what he has to say here about Everwild.
Everwild is a real mess. It is. They keep saying it's like they try to like talk diplomatically about it when they're in public. And they're like, oh, people hear about like things about a creative director leaving and oh, things getting rebooted, and that's overstated. It's not that overstated. They've rebooted that thing, and they don't know exactly what the state of it really is in terms of like what they expect it to be. They are still figuring that out, and it's a mess. So I mean, is that what you're hearing?
Well, I mean, I definitely heard that things have changed a lot. Like,
Yep.
I was, I still cop shit in the Discord because I was originally told that it could, like, at the start, back in the early days when it was first revealed, I was told that it could potentially sneak in as a launch title for the Series X. That's how much it's changed. Like,
Yep.
it just, yeah, I have no idea what's going on now with that game.
So there you have it. Everwild sounds like, from their perspective, that it is still a big mess right now. It's been completely rebooted. So who knows when we are going to be getting that game. And we've seen, I believe it was Matt Booty, come out and kind of trying to downplay just what's going on with Everwild. But the more you hear about it, and from even what Special Ed said here, that they thought it was going to potentially be a launch title for the Xbox Series X. Where we are now with it being completely rebooted, nobody knows the state of the game, the story, the environment, or anything like that that's going on with the game going into 2022. Could be a very long time before we see Everwild. Hopefully it's not a game that gets canceled. Hopefully they take their time. I'm completely okay with that because we have so many games to play. Like, I'm not sitting here just waiting for Everwild to come out. I'm playing so many other things on Game Pass, so many other Xbox games, that I just want Everwild to come out when it's ready, and for them to take their time and make sure that the game is a quality product. Now, other than Everwild, Jeff Grubb also talked about Project Belfry. As we heard earlier, that Project Belfry was a game that was being developed exclusively for Xbox by Stoic Studios, the team behind the Banner Saga games, and it is a side-scrolling action platformer similar to a game like Dragon's Crown. You've played that before. And Jeff Grubb talks about how he does believe this is going to be coming out in 2022. So here's what he says.
I can't remember what Pentiment it is, and Belfry is the one that's from that one studio that's doing I can't remember. It's like, sorry,
Pentiment, the Josh Sawyer one.
Okay, yes, yeah, Josh Sawyer. That Josh Sawyer one I expect probably in the next 12 months. Probably, I think Belfry maybe even as well. And Belfry's the 2D hack and slash one from that team.
Yeah, the Diablo-like one.
Yeah, and
So the Banner Saga team.
Yeah, thank you from the Banner Saga team.
Yeah.
Yes,
See, that's why I'm here.
Yes, and exactly. Thank you so much, Jesse. And I think that's probably coming this year as well, but I don't know for sure.
So there you have it. He even mentions Project Pentiment in that statement there. But basically, it sounds like we could be getting 2 more Xbox exclusives that haven't officially been confirmed yet in 2022 to add to the great list of games that we are going to get, and that train just continues to roll. We're gonna get so many great games day one on Xbox Game Pass. Anyways, guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think about Lisa Su's comments and 2022 and 2023 and the ability to potentially get a console in those years, especially if they're ramping up production. Are you worried about Everwild? Do you think that they're going to cancel it, or are they just going to work on it until it is a quality product? And are you excited for Project Pentiment and Project Belfry? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here, you like what you saw, you found it entertaining and informative, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.
We'll be right back.